Film,
I wrote a film.
and now we're screening it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Ballyman is Ballyman because I'm from Southeast London. I'm a black boy, and you know, when people like us, not even just black boys, any young person walking around the area with a balaclava on his face is deemed as, that person's up to no good, or that person's trouble, or that person's hiding from the law, or the things that they've done. However, the character Deji is in a space where he feels like he's being perceived by the world, and everyone knows who he is and everyone notices him, and it's very overwhelming for him. And where he comes from, the only way he knows to hide away from the people is to put the bally on. And that's the reason why it's called Ballyman, because he traverses the world, his local community, in his balaclava, and people are thinking, well, who's that guy? What's he up to? But really, he's thinking, who are you guys and what are you guys up to? Because of the mental state that he's currently in. And that's the reason why the film is called Ballyman. So Ballyman is not like your usual chronological story. It's abstract. It's shot in a way and edited in a way for you to feel what a psychosis feels like. It's not meant to make sense. It's not meant to be so easily digestible, because when you're in that mode of psychosis, nothing makes sense a lot of the time and nothing is easily digestible. And that's the reason why it's not clunky, but it's just a bit junky and pushed together in a way where you're like, why did that happen? And why did that happen? And that symbol, why is that right there? And why is that person just poking out like... And you're going to see it when you watch the film. And the reason why I did all of those things, because I wanted you to experience psychosis from the film, so you can understand what the character Deji is actually experiencing as he's moving through his story. Yeah, it was a very different experience making Ballyman, because obviously I come from a theatre background. I used to act, but I haven't acted in a very long time. And I've been like into like assistant directing, facilitating. And when we create theatre, you know, we're a devising company here at Sounds Like Chaos. So we make our work from scratch. We come into the space, we shoot off themes and ideas and words. And from that, we like build a show. And this was like, yeah, we're going to specifically talk about psychosis, my personal experience, and what is that going to look like. And at first it was like, oh yeah, Ballyman is going to be like some superhero film. And like, it became like this fantastical thing. So how it started was, at first it started with like just being interviewed by Roisin. Roisin is our creative director of Sounds Like Chaos. He's asking me a few questions about my experience and whatnot. And then we just wrote it all down just to understand what we could put into the film. And then it was, okay, I've got this idea. It was like, I had this idea of, what are these people's names? Cain and Abel reincarnated into this new life, and like Abel's on this journey of waking up and remembering himself, and like Cain has already remembered himself from his previous lives, and he's trying to convince this character that he's losing his mind. And I was like, you know what, like, that sounds really cool. We did a workshop with a writer called Dion, and we sat literally in this seat right here, had all of these big pieces of paper, and I wrote all of this stuff down about all the ideas, came back with a treatment, and it was this Cain and Abel reincarnation thing. And it was like, it was so far away from like the original actual experience of what Ballyman was. So, or yeah, of what Ballyman was for me anyway. So I stripped it back. But what was useful from that session was just finding out little ways of like adding symbolism into the film, adding what type of energy, what type of feel it was going to have, how he was going to construct like the dark space, and how he was going to construct like these relationships between all of the characters, you know. And then from that moment it was writing, and I was working alongside that. I was working in a hotel, so it was like while I'm at reception or while I'm at the bar, like in between serving people or checking guests in, I've got my paper out, I'm writing down script, I'm going home, I'm typing it up, I'm sending it over to Roisin. She's giving me some prompts, ideas, edits, I'm editing it back. I think we had like 8 edits at the end. And then it was like, great, cool. Now we've got to audition people, which I've never done before. It was a good experience. Sent out like feelers. Is it feelers? An audition thing on social media. And I'll be honest, I was very surprised by the responses that we got. Like a lot of people sent their emails, wanted to come in and audition. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is actually happening. Brought the people in, auditioned them. That was a sick experience. And yeah, it just became real. And there was definitely a lot of times in between and I was like, you know what, this is long and like it's stressful and it's not what I'm used to. And like, do I want to do this anymore? But there were so many people involved, so many people backing the project, so many people invested in the project that I was like, you know what, no matter how I feel, we've got to make this happen. So yeah, post auditions, I think like just like 2 weeks after that is when we started filming. Right, Jade? Yeah. You're not here. 2 weeks after that is when we started filming. The filming was like a 2-week process. Then like another month, not a whole month, but like little days here and there of like catching bits that we've lost that we needed to like add back into the film. And then, yeah, that was it. And that was like last year, October-ish. What do I want the outcome of Ballyman to be? That's a good question. I think when I started the film, it was meant to be like a device for me to process my own personal experience. But post that moment, I started thinking, but what is this going to do for the people that watch it? And it's meant to spark conversation, meant to be thought-provoking for my local community and the wider community, and black people especially, because we don't have these conversations about mental health. We don't discuss it amongst ourselves. People never really get to the bottom of mental health and all of these other things involved with it until it's too late and somebody's suffering from a thing and they have to go and find out about everything. So this film is meant to be a resource that people can interact with, to be thought-provoking, conversation starting, and like start conversations around just people like me and us, to be able to tackle things head on before situations arise. And I also wanted to highlight in this film that having a mental health crisis or breakdown can take you to a very dark space and it can be very hard to deal with, but also it can be a transformative experience. And from destruction, you can reconstruct yourself and become a better person, become a more knowledgeable person, and just more in tune with yourself and the world if you have the right support and if you have the right people around you to push you to become that thing. So
You would make a film again?
I would make a film again, yeah. Would I make a film on the topic of psychosis and spirituality? Maybe more like spirituality. I've got a few ideas that I don't want to talk about right this second, but definitely also I want to make a sitcom about like in hotels and like middle management and how that's like and stuff like that. But definitely want to make a film again, 100%. It was a lovely journey. I learned a lot from the experience. It was a bit hard, only because I'm discussing like my personal experience of psychosis and whatnot. So it was like diving back into that energy, diving back into that space, you know, and like dealing with it myself. Well, it was cool. It was a lovely experience, yeah.